Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking about my 26 in 2026. Not gonna lie, this is my second time filming this video because the first time was completely out of focus. So we are starting completely over. I did do this last year. I did a 25 in 2025 and I got 20 out of those 25 books read. So I just didn't get to 5 of them, and a couple of them have carried over into this year as well. We're gonna start, I have read 2 books off of this list already because it is currently January 26th. So we'll start with those 2 that I've already read. The first one is The Well of Ascension. This is the second book in the Mistborn trilogy by Brandon Sanderson. I really enjoyed this one. Both of the 2 that I've read off this list so far are both 4.5-star reads, so almost a 5-star, but not quite giving that 5-star feeling. I really love this world and the characters of this book series. In the first book, you're following Ven as she discovers that she is a Mistborn and is kind of training to be a Mistborn. In the midst of training, she joins this rebellion kind of to bring down the Lord Ruler. And Mistborns are people that can use all elements of magic. So in this world, the magic system is based off of metal. So you ingest metal and use that metal that you ingested to then do some sort of magic. And most people that can use magic can only deal with one metal but Mistborns can deal with every single metal. So she's learning that magic while also this rebellion is going on, and then this one just is a continuation of that story, and I definitely now hope to get to the 3rd one sometime this year. So good. Then the other book that I have read already off this list is Beartown by Frederick Bachman. I also now want to get to the other ones in this series. It follows a junior hockey team in a really small town in Sweden, and this town is like dying because there's just not enough jobs to go around, so people are forced to leave the town, and this junior hockey team is set to be the champions of the final. It follows them as they are training for this, and there's also a bunch of different other characters. They're all from their own different areas of the town. They all have their own secrets, and one of those secrets gets out and it could jeopardize everything. Didn't think that I would love a book about a hockey team as much as I did, but I really enjoyed it and I cannot wait to get to the next one. I actually just got it from the library today. Very excited to get to it. The next set of books that I want to talk about are the new releases that I have on this list. There are a couple that I am so excited to get to this year, and so I added them to the list. The rest of them after this will all be for my physical TBR, because that is a big goal of mine this year, is to really focus on reading for my physical TBR and try to get as much of my physical TBR read as I possibly can. So for starters, Where the Wildflowers Grow, this one sounds really interesting. It follows a girl who was in prison, I think, and the bus that she's on crashes, and she kind of finds this little farm to reside in. I don't know much about it, but from what I remember, that is kind of the gist of it. And I'm actually so excited. It sounds really interesting. It's historical fiction, I believe. I think I saw Sarah Caroli talk about that one, and that's what made me want to pick it up, was her talking about it. And then I have a couple romances that I'm really excited to get to that are new releases. There's only 2 on this list that are new releases. One is Our Perfect Storm by Carly Fortune. I have read a couple of her books and I have enjoyed them all, so I'm excited to read this one as well. I don't know really a single thing about what this book is about. You'll notice that with a lot of these new releases, I don't know a single thing about them, but they're all from authors that I have previously read and loved, or series that I have read the first one in, and I'm really excited for the new release of the second one. And so I don't really need to know much about what it is, because if it's from an author that I really enjoy or it is continuing a series that I really enjoy, I'm gonna read it regardless of what the plot is. So that is the case with Our Perfect Storm. I think it will be perfect for summer. Her books are such great summer reads. So I'm very excited for that. Another romance I am super, super excited for is The Night We Met by Abby Jimenez. I love Abby Jimenez. She has quickly become one of my favorite authors, and I will read anything that she writes. I am currently trying to get through her backlist as well, and I think I only have 2 more books left on her backlist of the ones that I have not read. Other than that, I think I've read everything she's written besides those 2, so very, very excited for that one. I did really enjoy Say You'll Remember Me, and this one is in that same little universe series, so very excited for that. And then the last 4 new releases that I have on this list are all fantasy books in continuation of fantasy series. The first one is Adversary to the Villain. This is the 4th book to Assistant to the Villain, but I am so excited for this one. I love the Assistant to the Villain series. They make me laugh so much every single time I read them. So I'm so excited to dive back into this world. And then another one that I'm really excited to dive back into is The Wrath Gods Reap. That is the 3rd book in the Games God's Place, which is actually these books right here. This most recent one, which was The Things Gods Break, I think. Yeah. Ended on a major cliffhanger, so I definitely need to know what happens next, and I cannot wait for that book. I will be picking it up ASAP because I need to know what happens. Speaking of books ending on a major cliffhanger, the Knave and the Moon, I believe is how you pronounce it. This is the 2nd book to The Night and the Moth. I don't know if it's just going to be a duology or if it's going to be more. I know One Dark Window was a duology, so that kind of makes me think that this one's going to be a duology as well, but I could be wrong. But The Night and the Moth ended on such a big cliffhanger that I need to know what happens immediately. And that's another one I will be buying opening day, on release day, because I need to know what happens next so badly. And then the last new release I have is The Ballad of Falling Dragons, and this is the 2nd book to When the Moon Hatched, and I am super excited for this one too. I did enjoy When the Moon Hatched. I will say it's not my favorite fantasy book of all time, but I did enjoy it, so I am excited to get to it. And then I have one more book that's on this list that I do not own a physical copy of, and that is Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. I have read Babel by her, and I do really want to get to the Poppy War trilogy as well, but I just haven't gotten around to it yet. I really would like to get to Yellowface this year because it is a standalone versus the Poppy War is a trilogy, so it just feels like it's more attainable and easier to get to Yellowface. I don't know much about what this one's about. If I'm remembering correctly when my friend was telling me about it, it's about someone who finds something that someone's written and then publishes it themselves and takes all the credit for it when they're not the ones that wrote it. I could be wrong. I don't fully remember, so don't take my word for it because I don't know off the top of my head. And my dogs come to say hi. So if you see her pop up in this video, she just wanted to say hi. The rest of the books on this list are all on my physical TBR, and they're all on this shelf behind me. So we will just be grabbing them one by one and talking about them. The first one that I have on my physical TBR is Caraval by Stephanie Garber. This is the first book in the series, and from what I'm remembering correctly, there is a game that comes once a year, and 2 girls, Scarlett and Tella, they're sisters, they go to watch these games, and when they get there, the person in charge of the games takes Tella, I believe, and the games are centered around her. Like, the first person to find her wins the game, and so then Stella joins the game to then try to find her sister. I think that's the gist of it. Not 100% sure, but I do really want to get to this series. I have read Once Upon a Broken Heart, which I know technically you're supposed to read this series first, but I did not know that when I read Once Upon a Broken Heart. So I've already read that trilogy. Another series I would like to start is the Spark of the Everflame. It says, when old secrets catch fire, everything will burn. An immortal world colonized by the gods and ruled over by the Descended, their cruel, magic-wielding offspring, Diem Balatar yearns to escape the insular life of her poor village. Her mother's sudden disappearance and the discovery of a dangerous secret about her past offered Diem an unexpected opportunity to enter the dark world of Descended royalty and unlock the web of mysteries her mother left behind. With the dying king's handsome, enigmatic heir watching her every move and a ruthless rebel alliance recruiting her to join the growing civil war, Diem will have to navigate the unwritten rules of love, power, and politics in order to save her family and all of mortal kind. So it does sound very interesting. I have seen this series going around the interweb and everyone seems to love it. So I'm very excited to get to this one, hopefully. Another one that I'm super excited to get to is Homeseeking by Carissa Chen. This one is a historic fiction. It follows two different characters throughout their lives, basically. Haewon is buying bananas at a store in Los Angeles. And when he looks up, he sees Suchi for the first time in 60 years. And then it goes back to they met each other when they were 7, and it follows them throughout their childhood friendship that blossoms into love. And then Haewon is enlisted in the Nationalist Army in 1947. So it follows them throughout 6 decades. So it just follows their lives, basically. I've heard great things about this one. I can't remember who I saw read this one. I think it was Ashlyn. I don't remember, but I saw someone on BookTube read this one, and I've seen it a couple other times around the internet, and it sounds really interesting. So I'm super excited for this one. And then I have a couple that I am really wanting to get to before their movie adaptations come out this year. The first one being Project Hail Mary. I am so excited to read this one. I'm not the biggest sci-fi fan, but I've heard that this one, even for people that aren't sci-fi readers, is amazing. I am going to be listening to the audiobook of this one because I've heard the audiobook is supposed to be spectacular and the best way to enjoy and digest this story. And then another one that I really want to get to before the movie is the Odyssey, which means I also have to read the Iliad because I am going to be reading them in order. Even though you don't necessarily have to read the Iliad to read the Odyssey, but I will be listening to both of those as well because I feel like it'll just be much easier to digest reading it as audio because I'm not a big classics person, but I definitely want to read this before the movie comes out because the movie looks incredible. The next book on my list is Scythe. This one is another start to a series, and I'm not 100% sure what it is fully about. I know that it takes place in a world where you no longer have to worry about death and only scythes are the ones that can end life, and 2 different people are chosen to apprentice a scythe, but neither of them want it. I don't really know much about it. I have seen it around for a long time. Again, I think it's kind of like dystopian sci-fi maybe vibes. I'm not 100% sure, but I have heard great things about it. Hopefully it's good. And then I have Normal People by Sally Rooney. I don't know much about what this book is about either. I have had it on my physical TBR for quite a long time. I got it from the thrift store a long time ago because I have seen it around BookTube, Talk, Bookstagram, all the things. So when I saw it at Goodwill, I got it, but I literally have no idea what it's about. It says, the 2 strike up a conversation, awkward but electrifying. Something life-changing begins. Normal People is a story of mutual fascination, friendship, and love. It takes us from the first conversation to the years beyond in the company of 2 people who try to stay apart but find that they can't. It is a short book, so I hope I can get to it this year. I've heard mixed things about it, and so I'm very intrigued to see what my thoughts are. Some people love it, some people don't really like it that much, so I'm excited to see my thoughts on it. The next book is one that was on my 25 in 2025 that I did not get to, and that is Circe. I don't know much about this one besides that it's Greek mythology and it's written by the same person who wrote The Song of Achilles, which I did enjoy The Song of Achilles, and that's the whole reason why I want to read this one was because I liked the Song of Achilles and I also like Greek mythology things. I don't know anything about it. It says in the house of Helios, god of the sun and mightiest of the Titans, a daughter is born, but Circe is a strange child, not powerful like her father nor viciously alluring like her mother. Turning to the world of mortals for companionship, she discovers that she does possess power, the power of witchcraft, which can transform rivals into monsters and menace the gods themselves. Threatened, Zeus banishes Circe to a deserted island where she homes her occult craft and crosses paths with many of the most famous figures in all of mythology, including the Minotaur Daedalus and his doomed son Icarus, and murderous Medea, and of course Odysseus. But there is danger too for a woman who stands alone, and Circe unwittingly draws the wrath of both men and gods, ultimately finding herself pitted against one of the most terrifying and vengeful of the Olympians. To correct what she holds dear, Circe must summon her strength and choose one and for all whether she belongs to the gods she is born from or the mortals she has come to love. Sounds really good. Right up my alley. Hopefully I finally get to it this year because like I said, it was on my list last year and I did not get to it. This one is one that I bought in the fall time and I wanted to get to it, but I just didn't get around to it. So we will be waiting to read it until the fall of this year because it is definitely a fall read, and that is People Watching by Hannah Bonham Young. I don't know anything about it except for the fact that it is a fall romance book, and that's all I needed to know about it. I've also heard great things about this author, so I am excited to get to this one. But I will be having to wait until fall time because I cannot read a book set in the fall in the summertime. I will be waiting to read this until probably October or November next year. Or this year. This year, not next year. This year. This book I also got because I saw Sarah Caroli talk about, and it is The X-Vows by Jessica Joyce. This one, I know a little bit more about it just from what I remember her talking about. It follows a set of friends, a group of 3. 2 of them dated for a long time and they broke up, and the third one is now getting married, and the 2 that broke up have to come back together for this wedding, and they're both like maid of honor, man of honor type of roles. It's like a second chance. They kind of like rekindle what they had. I don't know much else besides that, but I'm very excited to read it because I've heard really great things. This is one that's giving summer spring vibes, so I will be reading it in the summer springtime. Don't know exactly when, but soon. One that I will be reading really soon is First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. I got this last year and I got it not long after it came out, but I didn't get around to starting it until after Valentine's Day, and it takes place during Valentine's Day, and so I got the first chapter read and I decided to put it down for the time being and pick it back up closer to Valentine's Day because, like I was saying earlier, I'm someone that reads books seasonally if they are a seasonal book, and so since this takes place on Valentine's Day, I needed to read it around Valentine's Day. So I will be picking this up very shortly and I am so excited to finally get it off my TBR. This is another one that was on my 25 and 2025 that I just did not get around to, and that is Firefly Lane by Kristen Hanna. This one follows friends throughout their lives. That's really all I know about it, and that's all I need to know because it's Kristen Hanna and I love Kristen Hanna. I've loved everything. My camera battery just died, so if the angle changed or anything, sorry about that. But like I was saying, I have loved everything that I have read by Kristen Hanna, so I don't really need to know what this book is about other than that it's written by her and that it's about a group, like a friendship. And that's all I need to know that I'm probably going to enjoy this one. This is a newer book to my TBR. It is called The Crimson Throne. One of my besties gave it to me as part of my Christmas gift. She did a little book advent calendar for the last like 5 days of December, and this one sounds so good. Samson Calthrope's curse has isolated him from everyone he has ever cared about, so when the opportunity arises to break the curse, he grabs it. All he has to do for his freedom is risk his life and become a royal spy, using every bit of the skill and resolve he's picked up on the streets of London to infiltrate the court of the Scottish Queen and uncover a plot to assassinate Queen Elizabeth. For years, Eliath Graham has been protecting Mary, Queen of Scots, from from threats both physical and magical, including from the Queen's own husband, Lord Darnley. Goliath is more than meets the eye, though. The child of a Fey prince and a human mother, he's among the most powerful protectors in Scotland, guardians sworn to defeat against the Red Caps, a bloodthirsty Fey clan that Lord Darnley is in league with to overtake Scotland. As Goliath and Samson circle each other in the volatile and glamorous Scottish court, both seek to uncover threats of their own countries. They have one unifying link, their shared hatred and suspicion of Lord Darnley. That and their undenying pull toward each other using secret codes, hidden messages, and a little bit of magic. Goliath and Samson unravel a plot centuries in the making, where Darnley is only a pawn, and in this game, the Queen takes all. It is a historic fantasy, which I have read one other historic fantasy. I've read a couple historic fantasies and I've really enjoyed them, so I'm super excited to get to this one. And I love that it's about Mary Queen of Scots, or like that time period. If you've never seen the TV show Reign, which is about Mary Queen of Scots, it's so good and it's giving those kinds of vibes, so I'm super excited to get to this one. This one I am both excited to get to and terrified to get to, because I've heard that it wrecks people, and that is The Last Letter by Rebecca Yarros. Love this author. She has written Fourth Wing, and then I've also read The Things We Leave Unfinished by her, which I did also really enjoy. This one, I am so excited. I don't know much. I know it takes place during a war. I don't know exactly. I don't need to know anything. I've just seen so much about this book that I need to discover it for myself and see what all of the hype is about. This one is called Salt to the Sea by Ruta Sepetys, and it is about, it's a World War II historical fiction. It says, winter 1945, 4 refugees, 4 secret, each one born of a different homeland, each one hunted and haunted by tragedy, lies, and war. As thousands desperately flock to the coast in the midst of a Soviet advance, 4 paths converge, vying the passage aboard the Wilhelm Gustloff, a ship that promises safety and freedom, but not all promises can be kept. I have had this on my physical TBR for a very long time. I love World War II historical fiction books. That's my favorite historical fiction subgenre, I guess, is World War II. So I'm very excited to get to this one, and I've heard amazing things about this author. The last book on my 26 and 2026 is Things You Save in a Fire by Catherine Center. I have read a couple books by this author and I have enjoyed them, so I am super excited to get to this one as well. It seems like it's a decently shorter book, so I am excited for that. But this one follows Cassie, who is a firefighter, and she recently moves to a new state. Her new team that she's a part of does not like that she is on their team. They don't think because she's a girl she's gonna be as good or something like that, except for the new rookie who is on her side, and then they kind of fall in love, I think. Not 100% sure. I found this at a Goodwill, I think, and it's been on my TBR for a while, so I'm hoping to get this one off of my TBR as well. So with that, we have my 26 and 2026. I hope you guys enjoyed hearing me talk and yap about books and the ones that I am most anticipating this year. Let me know if any of these are high on your radar or a book that you are super excited to get to this year. If you enjoyed, I hope you'll stick around and subscribe, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!